Erev Tov, good evening. My name is Paul Cohen, and I have the privilege of serving as one of the rabbis here at Temple Jeremiah. And so on behalf of our president, Steve Kleiman, whose birthday it happens to be today, happy birthday, and our board of directors and the rest of the senior staff, welcome to this program. We originally had titled this program, Preparing for the High Holidays. Last week we had a session that Rabbi Heaps led that was focused on Rosh Hashanah. And this Monday, today, we were focusing on Yom Kippur. And then I was contacted by an organization that is sponsoring people from Israel to North America, specifically to the United States, to talk about their experience on October 7th, which is how Amit Ganish came to us. And so what I wanted to do is to blend things a little bit. Before we turn to Amit and hear her story and hear her respond to some questions, there will be an opportunity also for people who wish to ask questions. There are index cards and pencils that have been distributed around, and if you don't have one, one will be provided for you if you'd like to get one. I wanted to talk a little bit about Yom Kippur, and particularly with the focus on the Yizkor service. We know that an important part of our Yom Kippur observance is Yizkor, the service of memory. And most often with Yizkor, we're focused on our personal grief, our personal mourning, whether it is something that, the loss that we've experienced recently or a loss that we're remembering that happened years ago. And thinking this year especially of how we bring those two together. How do we think about our own loss, the personal losses, family and friends that we've lost over the years and maybe even very recently, and the sense of communal loss, certainly since October 7th and the thousands who have perished as a result of that attack, and how we bring those together, and how do we respond, and how do we strengthen and support one another. I don't come with answers necessarily, but with questions that I'm sure have been reverberating in our minds as we approach the new year, as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and think about how this year, how it's going to feel, how it's going to be different than in years past, and what we need from one another, and how it is that we can respond to the needs of one another. And so we wanted to have this opportunity to not only to welcome Amit and to hear her story, but to see what we can draw from it as well for ourselves. Certainly Amit has come in talking to so many communities, and for us in particular at this time to think of what this means as we approach not only the 1-year anniversary of the attack of October 7th of 2023, but also as we approach these high holy days. So I wanted to give Amit as much time as we possibly can, and to have her talk just a little bit first, if you could, about life for you before October 7th, and to talk perhaps a little bit about, as much as you feel comfortable sharing, about your family and friends and growing up and school and your service in the IDF, again, prior to October 7th.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I start and say that my English isn't perfect, so forgive me if I have mistakes. My name is Amit Ganish. I live in Israel, in Or Yehuda. Or Yehuda, it's a small town next to the airport. I have one little brother, his name is Guy, and I have one big sister, her name is Yarden. I live with my parents. I'm 24 years old. I study law at Bar-Ilan University. I don't know if you know the university. I have boyfriend, 2 years. When I come back to Israel tomorrow, we will move together to live together. I was officer in the army, and one of my soldiers, her name is Zohar. She is my best friend today, and we were together at the Nova Festival. Her boyfriend was murdered at the Nova Festival. We came 3 and returned 2. Sorry. Before the October 7th, I think that I was more a girl, I think. Maybe more naive, more happy. I was a girl. Now I think the October 7th affect all Israel, not just me. It's hard all the people in Israel, not just the people that wore the Nova festivals, you know.
So if you can talk just a little bit about the festival itself and what you experienced at the festival.
Before the October 7th, I knew that it's gonna be the biggest festival in Israel, and it was. The night before, in the Kiddush, it was on Saturday, so we sat all the family around the table, eat Kiddush. I had some bad feelings. I told my mom that I feel like it's not gonna be fun. I don't know why, I don't know what, but I just don't know. And had some bad feeling. She told me, Amit, you will start the 2nd year in the university. Go, enjoy. Don't worry, it's not gonna be fun. You can come home. It's 40 minutes by car, so it's okay. And I drove, and I took my friend Zohar with me. My boyfriend didn't come with me because it was on Simchat Torah, the holiday Simchat Torah, and he loves to do this particularly holiday in the synagogue with his family, where he sings songs and all of this. So he told me, Amit, go alone. And I went with Zohar. Zohar's boyfriend, Matan, worked at the Nova Festival. He had company, and he did all the sound and the electricity in the festival. When we just came in, all the bad feelings just go away, and I saw all the music and the crowd and the happy people, and I told myself, this is gonna be wow, amazing. I never seen something like this before. It was really, really with a lot of happy people. Wow, I think about it, and this is the opposite of what happened a few hours later.
And talk about what those moments were like as the festival turned from a celebration with the music playing, and then what did you experience next? What happened next?
First, I'll say that it's hard to tell, I think, one day in few sentences, but I will try. Until 6:30 in the morning, we danced, we party, we drank a lot of alcohol, a lot. It was a really, really good festival, and we jumped from, there were 2 stages, main stage and little stage. we like 1 kilometer far from another. We ran like, girl in party. On 6:30, the music stopped. We looked to the sky, and we see rockets from Gaza towards us. The Nova Festival was in forest, really, really close to the to Gaza border. But it's no one afraid of this because there are people who live there and there are soldiers, and this is our country, so we have nothing to fear. At this point, I didn't got in panic. Also, Zohar lives in the south, near the border, all her life. Easy peasy. We stayed in the area of the festival. We wanted to help Matan with this equipment because now all his workers went. Some of them afraid. It's a terrifying situation, but if you used to it, and in Israel we used to rockets from Gaza, so it's fine until now. So we helped him, and in about 8 in the morning, after I was awake all night and danced and jumped, the rockets just don't stop. And I realized that something is different. It's not like the rockets that we used to in Israel, but it's fine. And I told Zohar I need to rest little before I drive home. And we took 2 chairs near the main stage. I don't know if you saw pictures or videos from the stage. We took the 2 chairs, and I sat, and she sat next to me. And I just came to close my eyes and like go to sleep. And in this moment, I heard one girl shout, "Run, run, terrorists." I open my eyes and I see a lot of terrorists running. Their guns was on automat, so you immediately recognize that this is not IDF soldiers. This is not what I used to hear. They were shooting like on us, and immediately I turned to the other side and started to run in the forest. Zohar and Matan ran after me, and by end, 300 meters until I saw one driver. He was in his car. He drove to the road from the forest, and he shouted, come to the car." I ran to the car, and I got into the car. Zohar also got into the car after me, and we were 9 people in little car. Matan was 36 years old. There wasn't enough room, and he stayed there. He told Zohar, "I love you. I will be fine." And this is the last time that we saw him. He was murdered. The driver just go to the road, and we were tracked from both sides. There were big white cars. Did you see the pictures? With the cars, the white cars with the terrorists. So we were tracked. We don't have anywhere to go. And the driver just stopped the car. A lot of bullets towards us. A bullet went near my neck and under my leg. I opened the car door. I say it right. And started to run to the other side, to Orchard. I ran in zigzag, so the terrorists just shoot straight. And I ran in zigzag so they don't hurt me. And after 1 kilometer, about 1 kilometer. I jumped into a bush. After 1 minute, Zohar jumped after me. I saw her, and this is it. We hid under this bush 9 hours. Continue. And 9 hours. Obviously, I can't describe 9 hours, but it was, we were in completely silence. They kept shooting towards the forest. We heard everything, the kidnapped, and the happiness that the terrorists was so happy. They always shouted, "Allah Akbar, Yalla Yalla," and we heard all the terrible things. Without water, without food. After we danced all night, we were tired, but I was in focus because at some point I promised to myself that I will stay alive and I will do what I need to do to stay alive. So I was in focus all these hours. We had to be so silent because we were surrounding the terrorists. So the pee we did on ourselves until a good man rescue us.
So, who was it? Was it the military that came and rescued you, or was it somebody from one of the kibbutzim or from one of the villages that came by?
Okay, that's a good question. It's important to say that all these hours we were keeping to hear the terrorists, and me and Zohar don't understand where is the police, where is the army, where is everyone. Like, I know from my experience in the army, when there is like a bug near the border, all the army jump to the border. And where's the army? The army also, all the soldiers were murdered. And all the people in the kibbutz were murdered. And the police stations also were murdered. The man that rescued me, his name is Rami Davidian. I don't know if you heard about him. He rescued and saved a life of 750 people from the Nova Festival. He's an angel now. He's hero in Israel, of course. And this is the man that rescued me, and Zohar.
So, tell us a little bit more about how life has changed for you. How is it different from October 6th to October 8th for you?
I think until now, I don't really understand the things that I heard. I think all the people in the world still don't know really what's happened there, because they even burn the bodies. They took the bodies and like put one hand here and one leg here, and did mix with bodies. Even Matan, dead body, they born with another body in a car. We found his body after 5 days. You can't realize this because in the worst movie, I don't see something like this. So I think all Israel changed. I was a girl, now feel like I'm 60.
How did you come to this work that you're doing now in telling your story and traveling to different communities here in the United States, and how did you find out about it? How was it something that you were asked to do, something that you wanted to do on your own and found a way to do this? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Okay, I want to say that I love America. So flight, I love it. It's hard to tell the story over and over. Sometimes I feel like I live it more. Sometimes like I just talk it. Um, it's important. I'm in the military. After 1 week of the October 7th, I went to the military because I felt no way I will sit at home. I need to do something. And also my boyfriend was in military and my brother was in Gaza. I just felt that I need to do something also. And also now I'm in the military. I asked for my commander to fly to do it, and he told me, okay, yeah, of course it's important. I love to do it because seriously, this is the last time. Tomorrow I will go back home. I get a lot of love from the Jewish communities and all the people that I talk with them. So it's make me stronger. So thank you. It helps me also to talk about it and like to understand more the story and the events that I experienced.
It must feel very different for you doing your IDF service before October 7th and then going back into reserve duty. I understand you've been in serving in reserve duty at least for 4 months since October 7th altogether in the time. And talk a little bit about the difference between serving your regular service and then after October 7th.
Okay. When I was when I hid in the bush, my commander called me and told me, there is a war outside. Are you coming? And I didn't understand it. So I told him, I'm stuck in the south. I will call you later. And just turned the phone. And he realized that I'm in the Nova Festival. And I didn't want to go to Gaza and do the military. This is my usual military near the border with all the soldiers. And I felt that this is not something that I need and want to do, and I can contribute in another way that helps the Israel and also helps me. And I did it. I just can't talk about it, but it's important, and I love to do it. You meet a lot of good people in the army. It's great.
And so in the work that you're doing now, in talking to people, what has anything been surprising? Have some of the questions been surprising to you? And also, I'm interested to know if you've also learned more and how perhaps this has helped you in working through the trauma that you experienced.
Of course, it helps me despite the difficulty. There is a difficulty because first I'm a law student. I need to come to complete all the studies and the tests and and I also don't work. Obviously, I do it. I'm volunteer to do it because the importance of this. But it helps me, of course.
So has this had an impact on your decision to study law? and what you think is next for you in this. Your experience both at the festival and surviving that horrible day, and certainly with your reserve duty, and certainly now in touring and talking to so many different communities. Has any of this influenced you in the decision you made to study law?
No, because on the October 7th, I was started like before starting the second year. So I'm in the degree now. But when I end, I promised to get a lot of things. Like if I get alive, so I'll do this and this and this. And I really like every person wanted to help children. But I hope that I will help Israel. And because I love Israel, I love the people, I love the country. And I hope that I will do things right for the friends and for the people that don't hear now.
I want to make sure that we take time for questions that people have. I know that there were cards that were handed out. I don't know if they've been collected. If you want to pass them forward. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Matt. Okay.
These are questions.
Questions, yeah. They're still right? Okay. So as the questions are coming forward, thank you. Thank you, thank you. What is it that you want most for people to understand or to think about? What is the message that you want people to learn from your story, from sharing your story today?
This is always the same message, and we talked about it. As I told, first, I'm the voice of a lot of people that I heard the modern. I have one of my friends that was with me in school, and we did a trip after army. You know that the Israelis do. Was modern also. So first to be their voice, and also to be a proof for the things that really happened on the October 7th, because a lot of people, especially here in America, deny what's really happened there. So no, you met someone that really was at the October 7th, at the Nova Festival, and fortunately survived this with like 0.0000001 chance to survive this. I was surrounding terrorists 9 hours after a lot of runnings that I see the bullets on the trees. There was no chance that I will be here. So if I'm here, I am the proof, and I have picture, and I know what I saw, and I know what I heard of these events, terrible events. And the most important things is to give hope that we will win this war. This war, it's not just against Jewish, it's against all of us. Again, the terrorists also murdered Americans and also murdered Russians. So this war is against all of us, and we need to fight it, and we will win, because Am Yisrael Chai.
So we have questions, and I should have said this at the very beginning. Amit is not going to address politics. So this is her story and about what happened, and we can't expect that she's going to be able to give us answers that no one else can give us answers about the politics. But I do want to ask you this question that was shared by someone in the audience. Where do you see Israel moving forward in regards to safety, right? Because we know up until October 7th, one of the things that that Israelis always counted on was that they would be protected, that they would be safe. And October 7th, we know, kind of destroyed that notion for many Israelis. That, again, when you were asking, where's the IDF, where's the police, how come, that it was at a point where if there was a bug that touched the fence at the border, there would be lots of soldiers that would come because of the bug that was there. And here we had more than 3,500 people, terrorists, that came across the border from Gaza, seemingly without any problem at all. And so the question is, where do you see Israel moving in kind of repairing that? How do Israelis get that sense of being safe again in their state? And in particular, as you talked about this, that when you first saw the rockets coming from Gaza, it didn't really concern you because you're used to it. And first of all, that's a very hard concept for us to imagine. If rockets all of a sudden started to come from Glencoe into Northfield, that it would be terrifying. And the fact that you would say, oh, it's just rockets from Gaza.
Yes.
So
I want to say that this is little political questions.
okay,
Because
so answer it the way that you would like. Yeah.
and I think many years later, we really don't know. But I know that the Jewish and Israel always have an enemy. Along the history, there is always someone that wants to kill us. So I want to believe that there are terrorists, and it's a lot of things need to do to fight against terrorists. It's not just killers. It's don't just monsters. They did terrible things. No one could imagine. Of course, that no one could imagine because there was festival there. So how you can imagine it?
So thank you. I understand it's a very difficult question to answer, and I think it's going to take years and years before we get an answer to how people in Israel can return to at least the same sense of security, even in such a very dangerous neighborhood.
Yes, and I want to add that even when I came here, people told me, Amit, don't go alone at night in Chicago. So, in Israel, at least I walk alone in Or Yehuda.
Yeah, different threats, different kinds of threats, for sure.
And I want to add, I'd like to prefer questions about my experience and my testimony, not things on Israel, because I'm still not Rosh Mshala.
The Prime Minister.
Yes.
So one of the questions was just, again, about life after October 7th, and people like yourself who survived from Nova. Are there gatherings that you go to support one another, and are there interactions between survivors and the families of the hostages?
I had a friend that was kidnapped, was hostage in Gaza. Her name is Eden Yerushalmi. I don't know if you heard the name. She was murdered before 2 weeks, I think. Um, and now I have another girl that was with me in school. She's still there. Her name is Romy Gonen. She's still in Gaza. Um, and the people that were in the festival, I'm with psychology, of course, to understand what's was there. Um, Zohar also handled with the mother of her boyfriend. So and she's my best friend, so I'm also strong for her. Because we were like me and my boyfriend and Zohar and her boyfriend, and we went to parties and we went to restaurants and we did a lot of fun things. And now it's like me and my boyfriend and Zohar, so it's hard. I hope that we will recover it, and I think that not only the Nova Festival people and the kibbutz people need to recover, but all the country, because it's art and all the country, not only us. I'm just was there, but it's art also my parents that my mom on the same day passed away because my family thought that I'm dead. My battery in the phone was over, and until when Rami rescued me, the news filmed it, and it was live on the news, and that's how my family saw for the first time after 8 hours that I don't have battery, saw that I'm alive from the news. They're like, oh my God, thanks God. My father, there's a video of my father that he didn't believe. He recognized me, but he didn't believe. And he recognized, after a few minutes, my friend, Zohar. They didn't believe it.
So this is a question that asks you to look into the future, that if you get married and you decide to have children, and you have children, what would you... I didn't want to make any assumptions. What will you tell them about October 7th?
I will marry with my boyfriend. And I will tell them that her father is a hero because he fight in Gaza, and all the time that he was in Gaza, we didn't spoke, like they don't have phones there. So no one can track them. And I will tell them that mom also little hero, but not so much because that's a lot of luck. I'm not just a hero. I don't think I'm hero. But they will know about it like we know about the Holocaust. So
when you talk to friends that were not at the festival, what do you say to them? What do they have? What questions do they ask you?
When I return home the day after, we said all the friends, and I have a lot of friends that also were in the Nova Festival. Some of them don't talk. I know that one of my friends that don't talk was in a car. They were 10 people and survived only 2. One girl and him, and they eat under the bodies. He don't talk. I have another friend that little talk. He get into biuv. Yeah, biuv. Like, and either a lot of terrible stories. I thought that my story is the most terrible, but no. Um, I spoke a lot. After a few days of the October 7, I spoke to the CNN. I spoke a lot about my story. I think it's important, and if I can do it, I will do it.
So I'm struggling with handwriting here. I just want to make sure that I'm getting the question correct. So it might be too soon to answer this question, but at least in these days, in these months, how can you talk a little bit more about how you feel that Israeli society, culture has changed?
Obviously, we are more united. We all have the same purpose to bring the hostages home, no matter what. Everyone wants to fight the terror, and everyone wants to fight, and everyone wants to bring them home, no matter if you are wants this minister or this. We all want the same thing, and we all want to live in peace in Israel. That's what we want. So we are more united, and we are more sensitive to one another. It's tough. Israel, before the October 7, one was very divided, but now we are more united.
It's interesting that you say that because that's not always the picture that we get in the United States of Israeli society being, I mean, certainly in some ways very united, but we've seen protests here in the United States on college campuses, and we know that there are protests in Israel as well. Are they experiencing them also on, one of the questions here wanted to know, we know about what happens in Hostage Square and what happens every Saturday night there. Are there isolated protests or things that happen on college campuses in Israel?
I think the protests in the college, are probably most pro-Palestine. Yes, and I don't know how you can be pro-Palestine if there is no country called Palestine. Like I will be pro Disneyland. It's not a country, so I don't get it. And in Israel, of course, that people will be protest because they feel desperate. They want the lovers' home, and you can't just live with the knowledge that your father, I met Ella Ben Ami, both of her parents was hostages, and now her mother came, but her father still there. You can't live with it. It's hard. Personally, I wasn't in any protest. Unfortunately, because I really support the return of all the hostages, but I feel like it's hard for me to do it. I can do a lot of things, but this hard for me because they kidnapped 50 meters from where I hid, and I can't speak because I wanted to go home. I prefer questions about me. Okay.
So you talked about your love for Israel and love for Israel, and so has the way that you think about the country in which you live, has that changed, strengthened, gotten different now after October 7th?
Not a little. When you come to Israel, you immediately feel like we all big family. Here, I ask, can I hug you? No. In Israel, hugging, kissing, the warm people, it's like, it's something that will not change ever. And I love it. This is me. This is who I am. This is how I raised. I love everyone. Like, and I think I'm not angry because I know how hard it is. I was officer. I also fight for Israel, and I will fight for Israel as long as I can.
Thank you. So you're coming here and talking with us, and you've given us this opportunity to experience October 7th very differently than from simply reading about it or watching the news. And so as you've been thinking about this and talking and sharing your story, are there things that we can do for you, for others who have survived, and for, are there, in what ways can we be helpful to you?
I thought that I really love to come here because I feel the love and I feel that I succeed to connect you and to connect the people that I talk to Israel and to our stories and to our experiences. I think that this is it. I love to feel like these feelings that we connect us, people that don't live in Israel. I love to do it. I love America. I love the people in America.
So I have one card that says here, thank you for your courage, and so thrilled that you survived in this, and to again to give you the opportunity to share what do you want us to take from this time that we're spending with you? What would be, if there was one thing that you wanted us to remember or to be thinking about, what would that be?
I want you to remember my story and remember that I told my story just in few sentences because you will imagine the rest of the parts that I didn't talk about it. So take my story and maybe share it, that you met someone that survived the terrible things. But be proud to be Jewish. Be Am Israel Chai, and we will stay Chai forever. And we will win. This is the hope. When I came from the bush, I just went out with smile, with proud that I survived, and we are people that survive everything. Like every war we survive, so we will be fine. Just hope that we will win, because we will win this war. And I hope the war will end in a few minutes, I hope. Almost a year.
Yeah. And we are certainly with you in that hope. And I just, on behalf of everyone here, want to thank you for doing what you do in sharing your story and allowing us to be a part of that story as well. As we're approaching the new year, we want to be able to approach it with hope that this coming year will be a better year and that certainly the hostages will be returned to their families, to their homes, that there will be peace that will be a lasting peace and not just a ceasefire, but a lasting peace and a true peace. And that as we commemorate Yom Kippur and as we spend time with prayers of Yizkor, prayers of remembrance, of remembering our own loved ones that we have lost over the years, that we will also be remembering the countless lives that were lost on October 7th and those that continue to be impacted today by those losses, by their injuries, and that families will be comforted, that people will be comforted and will be able to heal from the wounds that have been caused. And so, Amit, we thank you very much for being here with us this evening. We wish you a safe return to Israel.
Thank you for coming.